Good morning, my fellow YouTube viewers, and welcome back to another one of my Bleach chapter reviews. You already know today's Wednesday, and it came out today, so it was all very excited that it came out today, and we had a chance to read it. So, and you know what that means. When the chapter comes out, it's time for me to throw down to give my Bleach review to you guys. So, here we go. This is chapter 543, entitled Letters. Now, the chapter starts off where it basically picks up from the last chapter where Bach is about to give his announcement to his Stern Raiders. And he said, he says, I have an announcement for you Stern Raiders. And then he said, I think he said, like, come on now. And then the next panel over, you see, we see Uryu, and it said, like, Uryu Ishida, clad in white, in this all-white garment. And then the shocking news he basically gives to his Stern Raiders is that he is nominating him to be his successor. And this did not go too well. Everybody else was astonished when he gave this announcement. And it showed a panel on all the other Stern Raiders. I thought that some of them were dead, but apparently they're still alive. So you see a little panel of all the other Stern Raiders. And then the one who didn't take this news very lightly was the one with the mohawk, Jasby, which I'll explain that later about him. Anyways, all the Quincy's, they're like in uproar. They're like talking to each other, like, like, wait a minute, what's going on? Like, this is a guy that we haven't seen before, that unknown man, Bambi the Bastardine, that chick, before. She's like, wait a minute, who is this man? Like, we haven't seen this guy before, and now Bach has decided to make this man his successor. And then what happens next is, like I said, Basby, he gets very pissed off. Like, he was about to speak out to him. He said, hey, wait a minute, Your Majesty. And all of a sudden, you see, Hoshwald is stepping. And the one I read, it said, like, Jugo. And he's talking to him. And then, it kept going on. He said, don't worry. And as we're about to get into the fight, when the time comes, you'll be able to see his true power and what he truly is made out of. And, basically, it just goes on to like the next panel to where they're like walking down like the corridor, and it's like very pissed off. Like, they still Basby, he's trying to get like answers. He said, wait a minute, this doesn't really make sense to me. Like, why would he even do this to us? Like, can someone explain? Then finally we get to see the other names of the Quincy's. The luchador is the guy. The luchador is Quincy. His name is the Masculine Stern Raider S. Then we see that Vader looking Quincy that fought Soifo in the past. He was what's his name? KG KG9, I think that's the name. He's Stern Raider K. And then we finally get to see that one Quincy I like, the one with the scar on his lip, the one that fought Toshiro. He was Stern Raider I, named Kengdu. And then, like I said, we finally revealed the guy with the mohawk is Basby, and he's Stern Raider H. And what happened was, before, he had knocked over like this servant tree that one of the lower class Quincy's I brought over, like refreshments, drinks and whatnot. And then he got pissed off, said, I don't want that right now. And he just like jumps off, and the Master, he like, wait a minute, where the hell are you going? He said, and then Basby, he said, I'm gonna be right back, I'm gonna talk to His Majesty and figure out, why is all this going on. And then as he just keep running, the masculine somebody said, hey man, if you do this, His Majesty is not going to forgive you if you try to do this. Which to me seems like the bright idea. The most smart thing to do is like, don't mess with it. You know what the consequences are going to be if you talk more about this. You're going to get punished, possibly killed. Anyways, Basby just steady running, trying to reach Bach and talk about this. And all of a sudden you see, Hoshwald just like stop. He just seen Hoshwald like Jugo. And then we finally get to see his full name, and he's Stern Raider B. His full name is Jugram Hoshwald. There's like other translations, like we always keep saying like Hoshwald, but this sounds like Jugram Hoshwald. But anyways, he told Basby, he said, wait a minute, where are you going? And then Basby turned around and said, wait a minute, he said, I'm not going anywhere. He said, now where are you going? Like, he just want to switch the question back to him. That was funny. And then Basby had said something like, he said, no, all the Stern Raiders had ideas that you were the one who was going to be the successor. kid, we didn't know that this guy that Juha Bach found, His Majesty found, was going to be a successor. So we all thought that you were going to be a successor, and that you ain't gonna do anything about it. And then Jugo, Hoshwal, trying to guess his name, Hoshwal. He said it doesn't really matter. He said I'm just going to accept it because whatever His Majesty basically, says is what's he, laying down saying what's going to be. I have no say in it. It is what it is basically. And then Basby, somebody said, you know what? He said he called him a coward. He said, you're just a coward. You are, stern ready to be. Basically, right next to him. You ain't gonna say anything about it. He said, you know what? If you ain't gonna do anything about it, I'm gonna do something about it. And that's when he just like charged at Hoshwald, and he just telling him like, hey Basby, you need to calm down before things get worse. He said, I am calm. He just keep getting pissed off anymore. He said, I am calm and stuff like that. And he said, if you ain't gonna do anything about it, I'm gonna take that seat as the successor. So basically, Basby to me is like another Grimjow. Like he has like a cocky, angry, attitude. Basically, he's very arrogant. And so while he was about to do that, all of a sudden you see like a ring or something, like a flashlight that's hit, and you hear words like yeah. He said yeah, you're calm, all right, and stuff like that. And all of a sudden you see this like one Quincy. To me, I don't know why, but he like got like a Michael Jackson kind of feature. He get like a hair bang or something, and he's Stern Ritter D called Askin. Wait, hold on. I wrote his name down. Hold on. It's he was Stern Ritter D Askin Naklivar, something like that. Yeah. And he was wondering. He said he was just sitting there like I think clapping his hands. And somebody said, "Yeah, man, you are calm. You absolutely calm." Basically, he was just making fun of Basby. And then he said like what? He said what was that Likvar? Yeah. He said what was that Likvar? He said I was just trying to help you out, man. He said basically, yeah, that's all he said. It's like, I was trying to help you out. That's all it was. His Majesty, don't like fights and stuff like that. He said besides, we have some onlookers, and then we see this guy, like way up in that way up high in the building somewhere in the darkness, sticking out a little cane with like an eyeball. He's like, like a little gremlin or something. He just like an only creature, just sitting there like laughing and giggling. And then Levar, he's talking about like he's saying this whole thing is pointless. Like why you two just like bickering and arguing? It ain't gonna get you nowhere. And then he said especially for you, he just looking towards Hoshwald. He said that this kind of thing will like poison you. It was in quotations. He said you understand what I'm talking about. Next Emperor in the show, Hoshwald is like looking, in that angle he was looking with his hair blowing, and the show that crest on his outfit, and he had that glance like yeah. But anyways, and it switch over and it shows Juha and Uryu, they're like in this like ceremony room or something like that. And he said the ceremony is now over. He said now your true power will awaken. And he said soon as I'll give you the script, the sacred script of the Quincy's obviously. He said by doing this, you will then get the letter A. And then basically in the shows Uryu like holding things like I was thinking like it was a cup or it was the script that he was talking about, I'm not sure. But then the chapter ends right there. Alright, let's get into this discussion. Overall, great chapter. I like this time we get to see more of the Quincy's at their home base, because before we never really get to see it. The whole thing that blew my mind a little bit was the whole point of making Uryu the successor and not making Hoshwald the successor. And that's when it got everybody pissed off. Well, actually, no, I'll take that back. It didn't really like blew my mind a little bit. I'm looking like, like I knew something like this was gonna happen because for him to bring Uryu here, it's gonna be something like major special, I guess. So I guess that's one of the reasons why he was bringing him to the place like that. And, everybody looking at him like, who's this guy you never seen before, and saying that Juha said he's like the last Quincy, in the world, and like back in the world of living and something like that. But the other thing that's in my mind is about this what that one Quincy said, the Stern Ritter D, Levar. I gotta get used to his name, so whatever. Anyways, he's talking about when he said in quotation, poison. Now I'm thinking what he mean by that is, well, not Juha, but Hoshwald planned something, like sinister against Uryu so that he can take the place as the next emperor, when Juha pass on or whatever when he dies. But I'm guessing that's what he was referring to, and so I might hold on to that idea. Now, you guys may have other ideas, but that's what I'm thinking. Hopefully, like I said, you may have other ideas. I may be wrong or right, I'm not sure, but you may have some ideas about that too. So I hold on to the idea about that. Like I said before, in the beginning, like I said, about these Quincy's that I seen before, like Asnute and like all the other Quincy's. Now when he was fighting Old Man Yama in the past, I thought they had died. But if they would have died, like Asnute, if he would have been killed, I think Byakuya's Bankai would have been returned back to him. That's what I believe, or things like that. But they're alive apparently, and I mean I knew that one Quincy was alive, Basby, one of the Mohawk, but since we ain't seen the others like Najinku and everybody else, I thought they was dead. So apparently they're still alive. So I guess hooray for them if you like them. Anyways, we finally get to see the names of the other Quincy's. We haven't seen the old man. Some people refer to him as the KFC Quincy. I don't know if he like the Colonel. Hopefully, his name would be revealed too. Good thing we get to reveal the other names. I like that. That Vader Quincy, I was really curious as to what his name was going to be. And that one Quincy I would say one of my favorite Quincy's I like. Even though I don't know too much about him, the one with the scar on his lip, I like that. Now we know his name is Kangdu and things like that. But hopefully, we get to see their abilities sooner or later, all that. But yeah, overall it's a pretty good chapter, and I know you guys liked it. I was, very, anxious. Well, not anxious. I was very impatient, for the next chapter to hurry come out, because I was just sitting there on my manga app, just refreshing it, waiting for the chapter to come up, and finally came up and I read it, and so I said, okay, pretty good chapter. Focus on the Quincy's and things like that, but overall. But yeah, like I said, good chapter and things like that, good details, and I'm just trying to remember right now, I ain't forgetting anything major, but I can't wait until the real, when the battle starts. And the whole situation gets Uryu, like what would he do when he has to fight against his friends? Now I know you guys thinking that, but I'm wondering, how that's gonna unfold and things like that. So hopefully, when that time comes, he got to make a decision whether or not he will betray Juha Bak, or will he be true and loyal to him and fight along with the Quincy's and wipe out, Soul Society and everyone else. So we just got to see when that time comes. So that's going to be a really good moment when it comes, all that. But, yeah, that's pretty much all I got today. I'm just trying to make sure I ain't forgetting anything, but I think I pretty much covered the basic things. I ain't going to worry about the menial things, so I know other reviewers probably cover that. But anyways, yeah, that's all I gotta say. Leave your comments in the section down below. If I missed anything, or if you have any great speculations for next week's chapter, I really like that. It was pretty good. I liked it. I clap for that. I liked it. Another great creation by Kubo. I truly appreciate that. But yeah, guys, that's all I gotta say for today. Until next time, guys. I'm signing out.